Good morning, Britain. 1,000 police officers and staff under investigation over claims of abuse. This comes as Officer David Carrick is revealed as one of Britain's worst serial rapists, with the Met Police missing multiple opportunities to stop him. It's now looking again at 1,600 claims against other officers and staff. So how many more have slipped through the net?
This is not a Metropolitan Police London-only issue. I suspect this is a very significant issue for all forces across England and Wales.
The Sussexes have rejected an apology from Jeremy Clarkson over a newspaper column that Clarkson himself called disgraceful. The couple, Harry and Meghan, say he needs to look at a history of what they call articles shared in hate. It now looks likely that Amazon will end their relationship with the presenter.
People being warned to travel today only if absolutely essential after freezing weather conditions in southwest England led to dozens of accidents on the roads. The Met Office has issued snow and ice warnings across the country.
With temperatures as low as -10 degrees, an icy start for many of us this morning, and the outlook remains freezing.
And question we're all asking, has Britain got Tonioli? Claims this morning that Bruno, the former Strictly judge, is to replace David Walliams on the ITV talent show. We're going to ask his friend Craig Revel-Horwood, would this be fabulous?
Tuesday, 17th of January 2023, live from Television Centre in London. This is Good Morning Britain with Susanna, Reid and Ed Balls.
6:02. Very good morning. Also this morning, a government minister makes an appearance on Good Morning Britain, for which, you will be very pleased. But this is one that you will not want to miss either, because the current Education Secretary is going to be grilled by the former Education Secretary, Ed Balls, of course. And this comes, Ed, as the teachers are going on strike next month and the following month. Another 7 days of school will be lost, which parents and... I was going to say parents and pupils will be furious about. I expect the pupils will be less furious than the parents. But my goodness, after a couple of years of schools not being able to provide education for their children, now we have teachers' strikes. And the Education Secretary doesn't want them either. What do you think she should do? You have been in this position before.
I have. Well, look, I remember the advice from the experts when I was... doing the same job as Gillian Keegan, which was every day lost is a day that you never get back. And to just say, blithely, well, take our kids out of school for a couple of days for a holiday, it's a terrible mistake, particularly for maths and English. And, of course, as you said, in the last couple of years, this generation of children have lost not just days, but weeks, sometimes even months of schooling because of the pandemic. And now it looks as though... every one of our children in state schools is going to be losing 4 days over the next few weeks because of the strike. I actually did face a teacher strike when I was Education Secretary. At the time, it was because the trade unions were objecting to the SATs tests, which all pupils take at a level, and they wanted us to scrap them. And I said, I won't do that because that would damage the education of children. So, I was, I think, siding with the parents against some people in the educational world, not by far all school leaders, that this was a bad idea. Here, though, we're talking about a different issue, and the issue is pay, because teachers this year, they're seeing their pay going up much less than inflation. So teachers are going to be worse off.
Yeah.
And, like nurses and the railway workers and ambulance drivers, they're saying that's not fair. And I think for Gillian Shepherd, it's really hard. The view from the centre...
Gillian Keegan.
Keegan.
Yeah.
Gillian Shepherd, a former Education Secretary.
Right.
Even before me, that was from the 1990s. Gillian Keegan, very hard, because she's not getting more money to fund pay rises from the government, over the $2 billion in the autumn. Yeah. But on the other hand, if she sits back and blames the trade unions for the strike, says that they're not going to be delivering minimum standards, the problem is, who are the losers?
Yeah.
The losers are kids who don't get to school and parents whose lives are disrupted. So she is in a difficult position.
Let us know what you think this morning if you're affected by that. You know, parents...
And what she should do.
Yeah, well, absolutely. What your advice for the Education Secretary would be... I mean, parents are constantly told, do not take your children out of school for holidays, and yet...
And rightly so.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be doing that.
Over the pandemic, of course, children weren't in school, and now they're not going to be in school again. It is infuriating, but you may have enormous sympathy for the teachers. I know that, you know, they're under an enormous amount of pressure. And one of the issues, because you say it's about pay, and of course it is, but it's also about retention and recruitment. And that has been the issue with nurses as well, and with paramedics. We know it's the issue with care home staff. You know, we need people to do these jobs. Educating our children is one of the most important things we can do as a society.
The thing which we know with the Health Secretary, he's been talking about whether there should be a one-off payment just for this year, not into the baseline, to get workers in the NHS through this difficult period. Being resisted, we're told, by the Treasury, but something which is being talked about. The question for Gillian Shepherd is... Keegan, oh, my gosh, you've got me... Oh.
It's not Gillian, to do with me. Yeah, I mean, that's her name.
It could be worse. At least she, you know, at least she was. Oh, look, I mean, exactly. I'm thinking of all the Gillians in my mind and trying to wipe them aside.
Let's not go there, Reid.
The challenge for Gillian Keegan. The challenge for Gillian Keegan is: does she think that if she had some more resources, she could avoid the strike and keep pupils learning?
We will put those points
to
the Education Secretary.
Gillian, whatever her name is.
When we speak to her after 8 o'clock this morning. Right, it is 7 minutes past 6, and our main news this morning is this absolutely shocking case that was revealed yesterday.